If you're young and you're getting into bodybuilding, or you just want to get into shape and you want to learn about how to take care of yourself properly, keep watching, because today we're speaking with an expert, Alia Dunnil. We're going to pick her brain and ask her every question there is on the planet, the most important questions that you need to know to get into shape this year and make yourself the healthiest version of you. Let's get into it. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. For today's video, we have a very, very special guest. Miss, am I saying it right? Alia?
Alia, yes.
Alia Dunnil. She is a nutrition expert, I would say, and gives amazing tips about weight loss management and reshaping your body. And today we have her on the podcast, and we're going to pick her brain a little bit more. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
So before we start, let's get into a little bit about yourself and, why you got into this industry and everything.
Okay, cool. So I grew up in a fitness family. My family managed a gym for 12 years. My mom was a trainer. My uncle was a bodybuilder. It's like in my blood. So it wasn't really anything that I got into. I was kind of just born into it. I had the examples of my mom and my uncle, and then also my brother. I don't know if you know. Have you met any of my family?
Or is this, I don't think so.
Okay. So my older brother is like pretty well known in the fitness space as well. And usually when people find me, it's through him.
Okay.
So I went to school for holistic and sports nutrition, but I don't even use school as the pinnacle of where my knowledge and my lifestyle has come from, just because I grew up around it. Also, just going through my own struggles at a young age with my relationship with food all throughout my teen years and into early adulthood. And so that's why in my career now, my goal is, and in my career is really just to simplify nutrition for people and to educate them and just show them that there's no one way to do things, and inspire others to lead a healthy lifestyle, whatever that looks like for them, because there's no one way.
I'm very glad that you mentioned that, because also, as I'm 18 at the moment, so when I was 14, 15, I also struggled with my relationship with food. And I would say to some extent it's still not completely there, because tracking macros and all of that, you're never really truly free from that, especially as someone who wants to go into bodybuilding. I'm very interested though, who is your brother, now that you mention it?
His name is Eric Dunnil. He is so wonderful. I will send him your way after we get off this meeting.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then I'm also wondering, what category did you compete in bodybuilding?
I did bikini. So I was always bikini, and I started competing when I was 19 and I'm 26. So I did quite a couple shows, and then last year I retired.
Yeah, was it purely hormone health, or just because you just weren't feeling it?
I felt like I got everything that I wanted to out of the sport. I went pro with the WBFF, and I felt like I achieved what I wanted to with bodybuilding. And so now I'm just wanting to put my energy into other things and facets. Competing really does occupy. It's amazing. It teaches you so much, but it occupies a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Well, I'm glad you got everything out of it. That's amazing. Okay, so then my first real question for you is that when getting into shape, what are some of the main considerations for young men and women, specifically young, because my audience is more, teenagers, younger people. So what is your advice to them? What should they take into consideration?
When it comes to getting in shape, I try to be pretty sensitive around the terms just weight loss, because usually when people think, oh, I'm getting in shape, it's just a societal standpoint of oh, you must be losing weight. Mm-hmm. So I would say to emphasize what makes you feel good throughout the day, what's going to give you energy, what makes you feel strong. And so I think the foundation would be, what is a goal that you can have that has nothing to do with the shape of your body necessarily, but more so something to tangibly progress with. Maybe that is you're in love with running. Okay, so maybe you want to start with just running for 2 minutes, and then you're going to build on that, and then you're going to go for 3, and then you're going to go for 4, and you see these little micro progressions. And so really the getting in shape part will be what can you do that's going to challenge you a little bit every single day to be better, that corresponds with the goal of feeling good? Drinking enough water, making sure that you have a balanced plate, going for a walk, really simple habits that you can start ingraining in your lifestyle as a young man or woman that will support the idea of getting in shape, but the emphasis is just kind of back into that, like, you want to feel good, you want to have energy, you want to be the best that you can be.
Can you give us a little bit more nutritionally? What is one thing that specifically young women, because I know a lot of girls, when it comes to losing weight, for women sometimes it's harder. I mean, our bodies are designed to hold more fat on the belly. So what is one thing that young girls can focus on?
I'm going to kind of dive into a little bit of knowledge and education here. So you've got three main macronutrients. You've got your carbs, you've got your protein, and your fat, and they all play a very important role. Carbs, you're thinking your vegetables, you're thinking your fruit, you're thinking your grains. When it comes to protein, this could be meat, this could be different sorts of fish, eggs, yogurt, and then you've got your fats. So that could be avocados, nuts, seeds, oils, things like that. And having an appropriate amount of each is going to impact how you feel and how much you eat. So, with that being said, the main thing that you can do in order to feel good and in order to manage the weight component of things is to modify the order at which you eat your meal, focusing on protein first, because protein is for satiety macronutrient, which helps you feel full. Second would be technically carbs, but actually fibrous forms of carbs, so vegetables. Reason being, fiber expands in your tummy and that helps you feel full. And it's also voluminous. And so when I say voluminous, I mean you can eat a decent amount for a lesser amount of energy. So prioritizing protein and fiber first when you're approaching your meals and balancing your plate. That's where I'm going to finish it. I'm going to say focusing on the balance of your plate is the primary goal. And if you are prioritizing protein, prioritizing fiber, then I would say as simple as it gets, that's what you can do.
I've actually never heard that answer when you're talking about like first eat your proteins and then eat your fiber. That makes a lot of sense. So thank you for that. Let's go into our second question, which is now we're talking about macros, micros, calories. What approach is the best? What methods have you used? Have you seen work with your clients?
This goes into weight management, this goes into nutrition, but it's like honoring your hunger cues and understanding your hunger cues is so important. And so what I see with my clients a lot of the time is like leaving food on your plate if you're full. And a lot of the time, you know, those habits of, oh, you need to have a clean plate, you can't like leave anything on the table, comes from childhood. And so being aware of that and conscientious of the eating habits you have as an adult and how your childhood has influenced the way that you eat as an adult is so important. And so that mindfulness component of monitoring your, it's like a body check. So it's like, okay, how hungry am I? Scale of 1 to 10. Okay, so with this in mind, how much do I really want to eat? Do I need a snack? Do I need a meal? If I'm not really that hungry, should I wait an hour before making a meal? Okay, an hour has gone by. I am like a 7 out of 10 hungry. Okay, how much do I want to eat? So doing those like body scans, checking with your hunger cues, getting to know your hunger cues. And then when you're actually eating, having healthy eating habits, planting your butt down on a chair when you're eating a meal, not focusing on looking at screens, putting your fork down between bites, chewing your food well. So all of those little things contribute to, again, weight management, having a healthier relationship with food, digging into the nutrition side of things when you've got that balanced plate, the mindfulness, the hunger checks, listening to your body, all of those things are going to be helpful.
And you know that makes sense. I've heard a lot of people say that when you're eating, sit down and eat and don't look at screens. Why do you say that is helpful?
So sitting down is coming from a digestion standpoint along with a mindfulness standpoint because you're focused on what you're doing rather than walking around, pacing, grabbing bites here, grabbing bites there. one, you don't really enjoy what you're eating. And I think enjoyment is a huge part of overall satiety and just like the beauty of being able to eat a meal. So I think sitting down gives presence, and that's incredibly important when it comes to cherishing the fact that you're eating a meal and enjoying it. And then no distractions. So kind of the same thing. You want to be present with your meal. And oftentimes, if you're distracted, you're going to eat more than your body actually needs. And if you're distracted, it's a lot harder to check in with your body and ask yourself, am I hungry? Am I full?
Right. I understand that. A lot of the times I catch myself looking at my phone, and then before I know it, my meal's gone, and I'm like, okay, I want more now. And that's not the best option. So I understand completely. So now let's dive into a deeper question. So while I was going across your page, I did see that one of your videos, which was very insightful actually, I really appreciated that you made this video, but you did mention, like you said, the importance of the order in which you eat, but this time you mentioned how it impacts your blood sugar and your cravings, and that sort of idea. And I know when it comes to weight management, for example, I'll take one of my friends who's just getting into the gym, weight management, and she's like, I'm experiencing so many cravings and I don't know what to do about it. So this video where you mention how the order of your food impacts blood sugar and craving, can you walk us through this idea of, the order of your food, how important it is, and why it's important to someone like my friend who's trying to lose weight?
Kind of trickles back to what I've already mentioned in terms of the protein and the fiber. So protein is your satiety macronutrient. So it's going to help keep you full for a longer period of time. Fiber, so your vegetables, that's important because it expands your tummy and it actually signals to your brain that you're full. And it's slowing down your digestion. When you consume fat, so you've got protein, you've got fiber, you've got fats, and you have carbs. Fats help slow down digestion, and it also helps your body absorb nutrients. So when you focus on the primary components of what's going to help you feel full first, also stabilizing your blood sugar, naturally you're going to feel fuller faster. And so lastly, when it comes to carbs are our body's primary fuel source, but carbs are what spikes our blood sugar, which can make us feel hungry faster. So when we start off with protein, which is our satiety macronutrient, and fiber, which expands in our tummy, helping us feel full, we're naturally going to feel compelled to eat less because we've stabilized our blood sugar and our, again, tummy is expanded. So we're essentially almost like reverse engineering the end of our meal so we feel fuller faster.
And so what I'm getting from that is essentially because you feel full and you don't really feel the need to have another meal or binge eat a snack, doing so helps you feel full and avoid cravings.
Essentially, yes.
Okay, makes sense. Last question here that I have for you for today. I was taking a nutrition course and it mentioned that there's no need to actually have a protein shake after your workout as long as you're getting your total protein intake in the day. So what is your take on that?
There's no immediate window that you need to be consuming protein. The total protein that you have in a day matters the most. It's not like you work out and then your body goes, if you don't get protein in 30 minutes, you're not going to build muscle. It's a 2 to 4 hour window that you have to optimize the fact that you just worked out and to, get the amino acids in your body. So immediately after is not necessary, and it also doesn't have to be a protein shake. As long as it's a complete protein,
yeah,
you're pretty golden. So that just kind of alleviates the stress off the shoulders.
It's good to know for myself and for others who are drinking their protein shakes post-workout or stressing about it. There's no anabolic window that everyone talks about. So on that note, that concludes our podcast episode, and I would say we learned a lot from you today. I definitely did, and I was very interested in everything you said. So thank you so much for taking the time out and coming on the podcast.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, thank you.